Hey, so we will continue with the script for Death Wear White. Okay, so from the previous video, we have already mentioned about the murder main plot as well as the organs subplot. Okay, now the third subplot is it's something originally from the Death Wear White script, which is the subplot for the stealing of the research. Okay, so now originally it was Richard Barclay, the head administrator who hired the two thugs Frank and Tony to be to steal the research from Drake Remote. Okay, so for Richard Buckley, okay, why is he one of the murder suspect? Is because since he's the one who hired the thug, so he has a good reason to be killing the Drake Remote for money as well. Okay, so that is why he is actually a suspect, but he has only hired the thugs to steal, but he has not hired the thugs to um did not hire the thugs to actually kill the person. Alright, so he actually supplied the virus to shut down the CCTV system as well as a map for the two particular thugs. Okay, so that is why the research. So for the subplots, this Frank and Tony, they are involved, but they are not really into it. Okay, so what happens is, actually what we can do is we can actually put them as something involved as well. Okay, now this is how we are going to change the story. Okay, so Frank and Tony is actually very keen to find out who actually paid them to steal the research. Okay, the reason is because once they actually found out so they are actually keen on to find out who hired. Okay, the reason why they want to find out who hired is because so that he can actually threaten in future if they need more money. Okay, so that they can threaten whoever, so that whoever is paying them, so that in future they can start to threaten, hey, you better pay me some money, otherwise I will start to tell other people you are the one who stole Hans Remote research. Okay, so for Richard Berkeley, he has to be as low profile as possible. Okay, so the other person who will be involved in this particular case is actually Dr. Padro. Okay, so this is something that we have to add in. Okay, so we have to add in that Dr. Padro is actually the one who initiated the research. Okay, so what happens is Hans Remote is Drake Remote. Okay, should be Drake Remote. Drake Remote is an intern during the research. Okay, so he wants to why did he stop the research? Because of his child accident. To kid and wife accident. Okay, now what he wants to do, he wants to continue and speed up his research to be the one who actually make the discovery. So he is actually keen to find out what the Hans actually found out about that. Okay, but he didn't hire. He just tried repeatedly to go to the Hans remote and try to pick at his file. Okay, but he is too upright, too moral to be wanting to do that. Okay, in fact, we can actually make him um, um, found out about that. Okay, so he tries to peek at research when possible. Okay, so one of the clues is that he actually put a note. Okay, then Hans. Okay, just put 3 days ago. Okay, Hans this managed to find the formula. Okay, then 5 days ago. Okay, so which is put some chemical symbol over here, some complicated one. Okay, then 5 days ago, okay, something happens. Hans is looking through his microscope with some XXX sample. Okay, so you can have an image over there. Okay, just put down these notes to let others say. But we have to write this into Dr. Uh, Padrowski's script. Okay, so all this we have to add it inside as well because this is something that we have newly added. Okay, so this is one way in which we can actually distract the two T from finding out who is actually the real person who hired them to steal the research. Okay, so his clues is you can see mostly distraction. Okay, let me see my previous file if I have anything. Okay, should be okay. Um. Okay, so he also has one of the suspect for the murder case as well. Okay, so for the clues, it will mostly be on the murder case or about this research. Okay, so the last subplot, okay, is relating to fake records. Okay, fake records is mostly chaired by Reverend Tom. So once you have seen the script, you should have noticed that Reverend Tom, okay, he is a bogus kind of preacher in on TV. Okay, so he actually a famous kind of healers. So he will invite a lot of people to the healing. Then he will say a few verse in Bible, give them a few holy water, and actually, immediately the person got healed. Okay, so what actually happens that makes him have this power is actually he paid money for for operation so that the sick people can be cured through hospital. Then he paid them a few more money to appear on TV and appear that he is actually the one who healed it. So at the same time, he actually needs to pay the hospital staff to he actually paid the hospital staff to actually um, he paid the hospital staff to change the records. Okay, so okay, so the main person for this fake records is actually Reverend Tom. Okay, so we are going to add a whole new story into it. Okay, now so what happens is Gil has lost an important case okay, last a few months back. Okay, so for this, please go and see on your own how to fit everything together. Okay, and this case actually hampered her reputation. Okay, because this case is actually a nationwide coverage kind of case. Okay, now one thing that not many people know is that Reverend Tom, he's not just a TV personality. He is actually a gang leader of a small boss as well. Okay, he's a gang leader of a small gang. So he actually uses this small gang to threaten other people, to not to say out the truth. Okay, and this gang actually runs a loan shark business. For those who could not get into his television show, what he actually did is he will convince them to buy his holy water. Okay, those that could not be cured, he will actually ask them to buy his holy water. Okay, which is over here. Okay, then because the people will usually be poor, if the people are poor, okay, he actually refer them to this particular loan shark. Okay, and the people do not know that the man behind this loan shark is actually the Reverend Tom as well. Okay, so this is how he will sell the holy water and as well as earning interest from the illegal loan shark business. Okay, not so sure if it's called loan shark in your area, but basically loan shark is someone who lends people money at a very high interest. Okay, they are not like banks, they just have it at a long high interest. Okay, so Tom Pastor was the person who bribed the hospital staff. Okay, Tom actually did not know yet. Okay, what happens is that Reverend Tom do not know that someone is actually snooping around to find out more. Okay, so the only person who knows is actually his bodyguard. Okay, who is Frank Daly. So he is actually involved in the research to find who is actually very keen to to find out about this particular case. Okay, so to find he has a few subplots. Okay, to find out who uh who snooping around records. Okay, and so now what happens is that Gil Remote, like I mentioned, okay, she lost this particular case. Okay, now how the case actually work is that one of Tom Reverend's gangster beats up a single mother who is not paying her repayment of the loan. Okay, and he is hitting until he is paralyzed from the bottom. Okay, now what happens is over here, one of the medical records actually talks about this. Okay, one of the medical records, okay, actually talks about someone is being paralyzed, so we can actually modify that particular records to sort through this story. Okay, the main thing is that once again, let's try to write as little as possible. Okay, but it must be beautiful. But if we can copy and paste, that would definitely be much more ideal because you will get the right tone and the right language and right feel as well. Okay, so so the local attorney actually hired Gil for the case to set up a warning to other gangster. Okay, but Gil has lost because this particular gangster who hit the single mother. Okay, the record at the hospital is changed. Okay, this particular gangster's record is stated as damaged fingers on the right hand a few years ago, so he is unable to carry out the attacks. So because of lack of proof, okay, so this particular gangster failed. Okay, so what happens is we can actually modify a few things here and there. I am thinking, okay, so uh Okay, because it might be obvious that Gil Remote will be the ones who is snooping around for the records. Let's see if we can do something else. Okay, so Gil is the one who has been snooping around the records. Um, okay, so maybe we can actually mess them up. Okay, so it might be Gil. Okay, it might be Nurse Coaster, who is snooping around the records as well. Okay. Sorry, just have an idea. Okay, so what happens is clues can also lead to more prompting. Okay, like it need not be okay. Like for example, Gil Remote likely she will have a lot of clues in her card. Okay, so maybe some of the clues, okay, it will allow other players to go and prompt her better. Okay, so this is one objective of one of the clues. Okay, so yeah, so Nose Coaster could have a distracting kind of clue. Okay, distracting kind of clue like okay, maybe one of the files from her is that she is it could be that okay, of course Richard Buckley could be one of those who is wanting to find out who is snooping around the record since he is the head admin. Okay, so for Frank Bagley and Reverend Tom, he can't have two suspects who is snooping around the records. Okay, the real person who is snooping around the records is actually Gail Remote, but Richard Berkeley could also be wanting to one of the suspect, but just say that he is actually too focused on making money, then go ahead to find out who actually make these records, etc. Okay, he's not clear. And also Intern Carter could be one of the suspect as well. So it depends on how you are going to make the clue. Alright, so for instance, okay, we have to change a few things to make it in such a way where both of them has a good murder. Okay, so like for instance, maybe intern Carter is always snooping around looking for. Intern Carter is always snooping around, being very curious. Okay, so he can try to find out what is the real purpose of Intern Carter. Okay, just another idea again. Uh, okay. Okay, so how are we going to make these fake records? So Reverend Tom could okay, these two are on the scripts. You can write that um okay, so we can of course if we are one of the suspect of this game, we need to have some clues about it and related to the story. Okay, so actually what happens is that okay, one of his clerk, maybe we can just call Shirley, okay, is actually doing the records snooping. Okay, so Richard could be here to find out more about who is the one who is snooping around the records. Okay, so that he actually wanted to once again ask for more money. Okay, and find out what is happening so that maybe he can earn some money from it. Okay, so he's actually snooping for the records as well. Okay, to earn money. Okay, and okay, we can actually involve the intern Carter. No, let's not involve intern Carter. Okay, but what happens is that we can have a confusion plot. Okay, like for example, he is suspicions of Reverend Tom involvement. Okay, now what happens is she is suspecting that Reverend Tom could be involved in the organs business. Okay, her main objective is just to find out about the organs, but she didn't know that she did have no idea about the embezzlement of funds by Richard Buckley as well as the case by Reverend Tom. Okay, but what happens is he's suspecting Reverend Tom because he is always seen at the hospital and talking to a lot of. Okay, so he actually noticed. Okay, Reverend Tom. Okay, notice Reverend Tom always at hospital. Oops. Okay, so she is always seeing Reverend Tom at hospital. Okay, and has dealing with a clerk called Shirley. Okay, so remember, if we're going to add this, the clues has to be added as well. Okay, so then you have to think yourself as the game master, as a person who going to remake the whole thing. Okay, so make it a fun one. So it's best if you can have the chance to actually play this game on your own. Okay, so we have to change her first clue. Okay, never mind about that. Okay. Okay, I think this will be fun enough. Okay, now we are going to change the whole murder scene. Okay, we have to change the whole murder scene. Okay, because like I mentioned very much earlier, okay, it doesn't make sense for a criminal lawyer to do all the stupid to do such a simple murder, especially when she is so intelligent. Okay, so now the murder sequence of it. Number one. Okay, so remember Gil Remote is the one who actually uh do the murder. Okay, so number one. Okay, she has actually stole a access card from Hans Remote. Okay, a few days ago. Okay, a few days ago. So okay, so during one of the checkup, she actually stole the anesthetic needle. Okay, anesthetic needle is supposed to make someone numb. Okay, so at 6:30 on the day itself, okay, she actually went into the hospital 30 minutes earlier when everyone is still in the operation room. Okay, remember at 6:30, many of the people has already changed, went home. Okay, except for those who is in charge of the night shift. Okay, so she actually went in 30 minutes earlier when the staff are still in the operating room. Okay, so first thing she did is to use a broom to tilt the CCTV hospital, and she is very careful to avoid the blind spot. Okay, so one thing is that we have to improve on the map. Okay, so this is the initial map. Okay, so this is actually the initial map, and we will have to modify it from this map, okay, to show that she is actually quite near to the we have to modify. Okay, I'm thinking of having some garden over here so that it's going to be easy. Okay, so we have to be clear. Okay, so she's going to come in from the car park, okay, the main entrance. Okay, and immediately the staff room should be nearby. Okay, so like for instance, the CCTV will be here. Okay, so the main entrance is here and the staff room is here, so she can actually walk past the CCTV over here. Okay, so we can actually add the CCTV location onto the map. Okay, so she actually can walk past here and it will be avoiding the blind spot. So she will just need to knock out this particular camera will do. Okay, so she actually put an anesthetic needle onto the lock of Carter's locker. Okay, and then at the same time around 6:30 she called the repairman to pick up her car. Okay, this is a smart way to actually avoid being murdered. Okay, so the thing is that she wants to prove that she is actually not around. Okay, she is not around at the scene at that time of murder. So what can she do is she can actually call the repairman to come and take the car and go out. Okay, so that she can pretend that she is actually not there during the murder timing. Okay, so we will explain a little bit more on the repairman part later. Okay, so now what happens is she actually spray at 6:30. She actually sprays sleeping gas, okay, onto the staff room. Why she sprays sleeping gas? Okay, so this is one of the techniques that she learned during one of the crime. Okay, so because the room is big, so she needs a lot of sleeping gas to put people out, and it's going to knock a lot of people out together, but she only wants Carter to be out, okay, because she wants to steal the guns from Carter. Okay, so we have to change the script to note that actually knows Carter is an intern, is a police officer. Okay, so we need to add this line to Gail's script. Okay, so because the concentration is not going to be a lot, so he actually sprays sleeping gas, okay, over in the room, okay, and put needle. So when this coaster, who is the intern coaster, who is actually a real police officer, actually tried to get the knock, tried to pick the lock, she actually got hurt from the needle, and the sleeping gas is going to knock her out completely, okay, for a while. Okay, so afterwards at 7 p.m, okay, so Gail actually went to meet the husband and team and follow them to the staff room. Okay, because after operation, of course they have to change. Okay, then at 7:05, okay, Costa actually felt pain in the hand, okay, and she actually fainted due to of course we don't write that, okay, we just say in Costa script we just say that she actually fainted. Okay, but what happens is others actually felt a strange smell as well, those the rest that are inside, for example Dr. Drake as well as the intern Costa. Okay. Okay, so as Drake and the nurse is trying to help Coaster to the ward, okay, nobody actually noticed that the key is nearby on the floor, and Gail actually picked it up and helped herself to the gun inside Coaster's locker. Okay, so okay, so one thing is that we can add for Richard Buckley. Okay, so what can she be more aware is that she has spare key, okay, for lockers. Okay, she actually has a spare key for lockers. Okay, now when what happens at 7:25, okay, while everybody is bringing Coaster to the lab, okay, Gail actually went around to look for her husband, okay, and she actually found the husband at the research lab, okay, and she decided to shoot. Okay, actually he's not the husband, he's actually the husband's brother, who is Hans, who is Hans Remote. Okay, sorry, who is the real Drake Remote. Okay, but wearing the shirt of Hans Remote. Okay, so okay, at 7:40, after he has shot him, okay, he placed the empty loaded gun next to the entrance and called the nurse to come to help her carry things. Okay, she okay, so what happens is she's trying to pretend between 7:05 and 7:40. She actually is not around, okay? And right now, just nice at 7:40, okay, the car return, okay? Car return. So when the car actually returned, okay, there is a ticket to show that she actually came into the car park. Okay, so that is the reason why she actually called a repairman to come pick up a car in the first place, so that she can actually collect this ticket to note that um to actually carry this ticket to take note that okay, so she actually wants to get this ticket to take note that okay, the car is returned. So what all she wants to do is actually get the ticket to show that hey, at 7:40 then she actually reached the place. Okay, so now one thing is that over here there is a loophole to it. Okay, there is actually two person who actually saw her to who is walking from to car park. Okay, so she is the Tom Reverend. Okay, and the Richard Buckley. Okay, so these two person actually saw these two person actually saw okay actually saw uh, Gail Remote actually walk from the hospital to the car park. Okay, so and they saw her alone. Okay, this is very important, saw her alone. So what happens is this two person according to the real script is really inside the car park. Okay, but we have to change a little bit here and there. Okay, so okay, and we have to change. Remember that Richard Buckley actually is the one who found the gun in the real script, but we have to change that to say that it is actually now the head nurse who actually found the gun. Okay, so this is at 7:50. Okay, head nurse actually came. She actually picked up the gun and approached Gail. Okay, Gail asked her to keep the gun. Okay, um actually asked her to keep the gun. Okay, because the nurse actually came running to Gil Ramos and said, hey, Gil Ramos actually found a gun. Okay, and Gil Ramos said, hey, oh wow, what happens? Why do you find the gun? Okay, I think it's better to keep it. Okay, because the police may need or maybe it's involved something important. Okay, just ask her to keep the gun, and she don't want a gun lying around, obviously. Okay, one thing is I have to note that the gun is empty. Okay, so at 8 p.m. Okay, we have to change everyone's script that is only at 8 p.m. where everyone's is at the emergency room. Okay, and this is the moment where Frank and Tony actually enter the place. Okay, it's not cafeteria, it's an emergency room. Okay, so two person actually saw Gail walking to a car park. Okay, so that is where a few things need to change, and we need to modify a few of the clues and the cue and change some of the script. Okay, now when we take a look at the script, Okay, we try to keep it about this 2 to 3 pages long. Okay, let's not have too much. Okay, so since we are adding a lot of things, you can, if you read, you will realize that a lot of things is actually not so important. Okay, so for example, uh, okay, okay, like for example, here we can actually reduce. Okay, you fall in love with. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't think we can change this that well. Okay, after marriage, okay, we can actually reduce after marriage. Okay, okay, we can actually remove this. You can see that it's not, seems like Hans, it seems Hans is a much better doctor than Drake. Okay, uh, okay, so no, we can actually remove this whole thing. Okay, that the first year. Okay, first year of the marriage was wonderful. Hans was perfect, loving and intensity. Then the routine settled in, and quickly each time you were in drag presence, you felt a little tug on your heartstring. Okay, so we didn't. Finally, with time help, you eroded up and the affair with Drake. Okay, so you can see that this whole thing. Okay, just remove as many as you can. Okay, so to keep the story short, since we are adding so many things. Okay, so another thing is we need your help to change the map. Okay, try to remove as much you can. Okay, so okay, I already talked about clues. Okay, okay, now subplots. Okay, we're talking about subplots. Okay, now try to recreate the goals. Okay, if you are going to take a look at everyone right at below. Okay, goals for the evening. Okay, we will remove okay, so number one, this one we cannot remove. Okay, now, okay, some of the script is played differently from the way I played. Okay, so the original author, okay, wants to make this as a kind of role playing. Okay, take for instance, want to make it like a role play where they actually has a hostage. They actually ask the hostage can actually kill someone, and actually ask the doctors to go and wrap up the hostage. Okay, and the doctor to give to help give remote giving birth, that kind of thing. Okay, so all this we will remove. Okay, like just those that I've said earlier, those involve patching up someone, the giving help to give birth. Okay, all these goals we will remove. Okay, okay, so but this one is out. Okay, so we have to add. Okay, like for instance, she is also involved in the plot for changing of records. So she wants to find out who is the one who actually changed the record. So that's why she lost a case. Okay, so remove all the accessories as well. Okay, so please go through everyone to make sure that you have actually changed the goals for last. Okay, so those with subplots, put in the subplot goals. Okay, like Dr. Padro, Reverend Tom. Okay, prevents your real identity, that who you are, the one who snoop around the records to be found out. Okay, okay, so need you to help me to do with the map as well. Okay, now let's go to the motive and means of the murder. Okay, now if you want to murder someone, of course you need to have motive. And most of the time, if you those who murder someone is actually really confused or really sick, really tired. Okay, so what is the motive of Gail Remote actually kill someone? Number one, she is actually stressed and she just lost her case. Okay, lost a false court case. Okay, so she actually assumed and she actually mistaken that um her husband is actually cheating on her. Okay, although she is the first one who actually cheats in the first place. Okay, so what happens is she is actually mistaken that the head nurse, uh, uh, the head nurse, what's the name? Okay, should be the Coaster. Yeah, Coaster, Sylvia Coaster is the one who uh she suspects Sylvia Coaster is the one with the husband, but actually not. Okay, how she know is that she actually mistaken. Okay, so we have to write this in. Okay, she saw one fine day she actually saw from her husband a note to Emin Coaster. Okay, and the note says meet me after surgery. Okay, meet me after surgery at 8:30 p.m. at the usual place. Okay, so because she saw that it's actually at usual place, so she's suspecting that Hans Remote is actually meeting someone else. Okay, but she has mistaken it all. Okay, so we can actually show this as either one of the clues or and show this as one of the clues and also put it at her script. We can actually have this notes or whatever. Okay, do you see how we need to have it? Okay, she actually loved it more and also for the insurance. Okay, so for the stress, we can have one of the clues as she is eating sleeping pills. Okay, abusing sleeping pills. Okay, so we can actually say that sleeping pills is actually 5 days ago. Okay, on the label we can put 5 days ago issued, but she's actually having half of the medicine. Okay, so this kind of cryptic things is what we want. Okay, so how she actually has the means to actually commit a suicide. Okay, she actually tried to frame someone, frame Coaster. She shows that she's not around with the car, and okay, so okay. Okay, so one more thing I have remember. Okay, I would like to reformat this to make it easier for you. Okay, beat for 6 to 9 players. Okay, now this is what is going to happen. Okay, right now at this moment, our script is meant for 9 people. Okay, now we want to make it in such a way where if you have 8 people, you can also play. If you have 8 people, you can also play. If you have 7 people, you can also play. If you have 6, you can also play. All right. So now, what happens if there is 9 people? Okay, for 9 people, of course, the entire group of characters will be out. For 8 packs, okay, for 8 packs, okay, Frank, or one of the talk will be out. Okay, for 7 packs, mm, okay, for 7 pack, Tom Reverend will be out. Okay, now if you remove for 7 packs, okay, I think we need to remove the script. Okay, just delete off the script involving the whole fake records subplot. Okay, so which means we have to modify it. We have to have a separate uh file without Richard Berkeley and Okay, and Grill Remotes, okay, which means the part where they talk about the fake records subplot. Okay, we'll just remove it. Okay, so we have to take note of that. Okay, for six pack, okay, Frank will be out, and remove subplot of medical or fake records. Okay, it is for six packs. Okay, the person to be out is okay, Dr. Padro. Okay, Dr. Padrowski. Okay, so one more thing to add in. Okay, I just thought of something. Okay, I think I've forgotten. Okay, it's okay. Okay, no worries about the clues. The clues can still remain. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Okay. Okay, no. Okay, good. Okay. Yes. Clues that others may find out if they purchase. Okay. Now, okay. So over here, your clues that others can find out. Okay, so like for example, each person has five clues, right? So write down all the five items over here in briefly. Okay, for example, for gear remotes, a copy of Hans insurance. Okay, bottle of sleeping pill. Okay, so just write briefly of what so that they can actually prepare. Okay, now the thing about the last point is the endings. Okay, we have a separate. This is for the admin only. Okay, now just say okay for the subplots. Okay, if what happens if uh for whoever, okay, now okay, you should be able to find out. Okay, now let's say okay, Gil Remote is able to find out that Reverend Tom is the one who, okay, so usually for endings they write a very, very interesting story. Okay, so the subplot is like that. Let's say if Gil Remote is able to find out if Reverend Tom is the one who is doing the fake records, she actually gathered the evidence, take photo of it, and went to court to remake the case. Okay, to rehold the case. And when that happens, to remake the case, and when that happens, to remake the case. Okay, give remote to remake the case, and when that happens, give remote to remake the case, and when that happened, okay, she actually won, and the Reverend Tom is being uh uh his reputation is has fallen. Okay, he is being seen as a cheat. Okay, many people start to sue him. Okay, and he actually went bankrupt and lead a miserable life. Okay, so for Frank, okay, doesn't matter if he is found out. Okay, no, I think we need a sad ending. Okay, so he's being jailed. He and the rest of the gang is being jailed for extortion, for several crime as well. Okay, now what happens if Gil, okay, is not. Okay, and if Richard Buckley, the head admin, actually finds out, okay, he actually becomes richer. Okay, when he actually have been uh, 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 getting getting from Reverend Tom. Okay, getting more money from Reverend Tom. Okay, and but Reverend Tom is still doing well. Okay, he's still a very 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 successful celebrity. Okay, um, okay, and for Frank, he is still alright. Okay, nothing happens to him. Okay, now, what happens if the research is being found out? Okay, if if the two thugs found out that actually Richard Buckley is the one who hired them, okay, Richard Buckley he has to eventually do more crimes to actually pay these two thugs, and when that happens, eventually he did try to support millions of dollars until he is being caught eventually and sent to jail. Okay, after just 6 months later, 6 to 9 months later. Okay, and these two thugs, okay, they actually went ahead to ran away to Mexico, and he's still getting the funds, and they lead a very good life. Okay, for Dr. Pradro, if he is able to, okay, nothing much about him. If the research, okay, so what happens if these two tug happens to find out that mistakenly guess that Dr. Padru is the one who actually hired them. Okay, so he actually tried to threaten him, and Dr. Padro called the police. Okay, because he's not scared. Richard Buckley, he can't call the police because he has done too many things. So he called the police and have both of them arrested because he is not the one who is trying to find out about the case. Okay, so for the organs transplant, okay, now let's say intern Carter is able to find out. Okay, we just need to say that intern Carter had a promotion. Okay, and if she is the one who solved the case, okay, she promote very very well. Okay, and become a chief inspector. Okay, and the nurse, if she is being caught, she actually just got into jail lah. Okay, and her mom, okay, unfortunately, no, I don't think I want to get into the mom. Okay, it'll be too sad. Okay, but the mom is actually being taken care of by a few of her good friends who is doctor. Okay, so yeah, I don't want to go into that. Okay, so she just jailed for 3 years, and after she came out, she lead a good life. She can't be a nurse anymore. Okay, so for the murder scene, okay, if the rest of the people voted for someone else apart from Gail, okay, Gail will lead a scot-free life. Okay, she become even better and earn a lot more money. Okay, but what happens if people caught Gail? Okay, she actually become crazy and gone into the hospital. Okay, can hopefully that's it. Okay, it's already, wow, 52 minutes of recording. Alright, thanks, really really counting on you. Okay, so please go and write it, Cheryl, and after that just pass it to Gail. Bay. Okay, write on the base one note, and you can ask her to look at the video as well. Okay, so it's all up to you.